there.
Actually, this is new video into Fox, and it's been incredible because both our David Lee Miller and Mike Tobin have been on the border. They have been there live for hours. They caught the tanks in exclusive video moving toward the border. They caught these ground troops fully armed with night vision material, night vision goggles and capabilities
Full battle gear.
Toward the border. And our Mike Tobin is still on the border for us, monitoring all of these developments. Mike, now that we know that the IDF has confirmed to Fox that the ground invasion has occurred, what has changed from your vantage point?
Well, what I'm seeing from my vantage point is a lot of new flares and tracer fire coming out of here. In fact, we go over to this end of the northern end of the Gaza Strip. I can see a lot of tracer fire coming right now. That is the kind of thing that will come off of a gun, small arms fire. Now, those are in the tanks as well as in the kind of things that the soldiers themselves would be carrying. It seems to be fire that is going into the Gaza Strip. Again, we're not seeing a lot of fire coming back out of the Gaza Strip. And that really is typical for the way these Hamas-type militants will fight. When the big armor comes through, when the big forces come through, we've got word that at least 20,000 Israeli soldiers are going in as part of this infantry force. When that big force comes through, groups like Hamas simply don't have the firepower to match them. So they hide for that period of time. When the threat to them has passed, they pop up and fight. They'll take pot shots at the armor. They'll take pot shots at the shoulder, at the soldiers, I should say. A victory for them is killing a soldier. A victory for them is penetrating some of this armor that's going into the Gaza Strip. They don't need to stand and fight them right now, which is why I think we're not seeing a lot of retaliatory fire coming from the Hamas forces at all. And I'm looking, again, at some kind of flares. I would tell you that's a tracer round. It doesn't look like a tracer round because it hangs longer, coming from the Israeli side of the border into the Gaza side of the border.
Mike, we know...
And that's our situation right now.
Mike,
we're a lot of...
Go ahead. I just wanted to ask you, Mike, because we know that the target for Israelis is Hamas. Hamas leaders, Hamas targets, places that they have the rockets that have been firing into Israel. But at this point, are there possibilities of escape for some of the top Hamas leaders? And where would they go now that they know that this ground incursion has begun?
Well, that's a really difficult call because obviously we can't find the top Hamas leaders either right now. These guys have been in hiding for some time right now. Look at there's a rocket going in up there. Its flare went out, Duty. They've been in hiding for some time right now, and presumably they would hide somewhere within the civilian population to get the safety in numbers. And the advantage they have of hiding around the city of Gaza is the fact that it is so packed full of people. They can get lost in the crowd there if someone is bringing them food, the things they need to survive that wouldn't necessarily stand out and alert anyone who was talking to the Israeli intelligence network. Just heard a big boom come out of the Gaza Strip after I tried to get a shot of whatever that was streaking across the sky on camera. When we see these rockets and things fired from the aircraft in the night sky, what you see really is just the engine at the back. Whatever is flaring up out of the back of that rocket, we'll see a bright light streak across the sky, and sometimes it will extinguish before it actually makes impact there into the Gaza Strip. Is that a warning for an incoming rocket?
No.
Okay.
Mike,
all right, that was something
Mike,
else.
let me ask...
And there's another one of those rockets. Boy, it's really tough to catch all these things on camera. But another rocket, again, streaking into the Gaza Strip. I think in a couple minutes, or a couple seconds here, we'll see another flash and a boom come out of the area near Gaza City. And there it was.
Yeah.
Well, clearly this is more activity than we had seen in the previous hour speaking to you. And Alon Pincus, the ambassador, talked about the fact that Gaza is a very small region, that it's a small area to cover for these ground forces. But at the same time, the firepower that we have seen from Hamas out of Gaza has been significant. And we know they've had a lot of support, a lot of help from Iran and otherwise. So what is the message when from their vantage point? What's your guess when they see these forces actually coming in, not only from the air but on the ground?
Well, what they have done is prep the ground to the best of their ability. And I've been with the Hamas forces, and I've seen some of their new, better IEDs, if you will, improvised explosive devices. In fact, it's almost improper to use the term IED because they're a little more advanced. These are sophisticated bombs that they pack full of TND, put them in the ground, wait for the ground forces to come in. I've seen the kind of different tripwires, et cetera, they have. And So I just saw another thing rocket across the sky into the Gaza Strip and then make kind of an upward turn. I'm not really sure what kind of a weapon that is. But again, the Hamas militants, they prep the ground with booby traps, with roadside bombs, their goal being to penetrate the armor of one of these tanks or armored personnel carriers. And once they penetrate the armor, that's a victory for them because they kill the soldiers inside. The people in Hamas aren't out to gain any ground like a sophisticated military. They're simply up to wage a battle against this incoming force. If they stand up to this force, the force will ultimately leave the Gaza Strip. When that force leaves the Gaza Strip, it gives the people in Hamas the opportunity to claim victory, particularly to their own supporters.
Well, they certainly, if they've positioned themselves among civilians, are certainly putting many of those civilians at risk, and knowingly.
And knowingly, that's exactly how they fight, because they can't win the war straight up. So at the same time as they're fighting a battle, they're fighting a PR campaign. And we've got a lot of tracer fire here, again, in the northern area of the Gaza Strip. I don't know if you can get a look at it, Didi. But, yeah, there's some small arms fire taking place. You see that over there, Didi? A lot of gunfire.
All right, Mike, let me ask you...
That's the way they do it. They fight the PR battle at the same time. Go ahead.
No, as you were going to say, please finish your thought, and then I want to ask you to stand by. We have a military guest with us, and we want to come right back to you. But please finish your thought.
Well, the thought is simply that they fight the PR battle at the same time as they fight a conventional battle. They can't really wage a conventional battle. They certainly can't win it. But at the end of the day, they play to the media. They play to the media that goes to their own Arab constituency. At the end of it, they will claim victory in one way, shape, or form, unless they are absolutely obliterated by this. Unless Israel achieves the goal of toppling Hamas from power, which is it's a very difficult goal. The bar is set very high for the Israelis, as some of the leaders have said that, in terms of toppling a group from power. The bar is set very low for Hamas and all them. All they have to do are injure or kill some of the soldiers that are coming in.
All right, Mike Tobin, stand by. We're going